So we do have some redness in the market, which is seemingly the continuation of the major dump, but I don't think that is what's going to happen. I believe that we are going to push, this is what I explained yesterday on the show here, said we are going to push into the 3.3 trillion region, or about 100,000 on Bitcoin. Now this is what I still expect to happen. Yesterday in the community I said that I'm taking a long position. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what I think the market is going to do, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about how I'm prepping for tomorrow's FOMC. If you don't know who I am, my name is 𝗙𝗏, and I dedicated my life to this. I've been here since 2016, and I've been trading since 2018. And I do have these daily updates every single day. It's 100x because I'm 100xing my wealth in the next 10 years. If that's a journey you want to subscribe to, then just subscribe to the channel and follow along every single day and join in the community where I share my trades and my thoughts as well as I do it here. So let's get going. Number one, very, very, very important thing. I do believe, as I drafted here yesterday on the show, I still think the same thing is most likely going to happen. There is liquidity built up here. On the 4 hour, we don't really have a close above the 3.17 trillion, but we do have relative equal highs. And that tells me that even though I would think that we need to reject from the 4 hour, and I always say follow market structure and go lower, because of the way this formed and because there is a relative equal highs here, this should be taken by the market makers, and not only because of the double tops on the 4 hour, but also because of the 50% retrace on the daily chart. Usually markets retrace 50%, almost always. You can see this is 50%, this is 50%. So markets always retrace, whether it's retracing to the upside, whether it's retracing to the downside, always retraces 50%. Now, you see here the daily 50% is at these levels, at about 3.2, 3.3 trillion mark. And I do think that we need to see a close, a wick above here on the daily, and then continue lower. This is what I would expect. Now, on the lower time frame, if you look at this, there is a clear market structure. We call this the internal structure. So if you look on the 1 hour chart, you have a market structure shift here. So you have a close above the previous high that caused the dump. That is strong, that is great. And then you also have a V-shaped recovery here. But most importantly, you do have, after having a close above, the market did close below a 50% level. That means that the market completed the 50% retrace that I'm usually talking about. And there is a readiness for the next leg up, which will potentially lead into the 3.2 trillion mark. This is what I would expect to happen. And because of that, I was looking for long positions. So this is what I do. Also very, very important, guys. Nothing I say is financial advice. You always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Investing in cryptocurrencies is risky, so always do your own research. But that said, I have shared this trade here, and I said that this is the trade that I'm taking. I said market dumped on New York, which is usually a reverse signal, right? So if the market dumps in New York, usually liquidity is taken and the market will continue higher. And if it pumps on opening of New York, usually that's liquidity grab and we're gonna go lower. So worth a scalp even if it gets stopped out, but it looks very, very good. And so I posted this in here also on the screenshot here. The TP is around 92,000, but I said the TP is actually at 95. So just so you're all aware, the 95,000 is going to be my TP. I added that. The reason why I'm taking this long, even though again it can get stopped and I don't really like this built up liquidity here, which you know can actually just be taken. We'll see how it goes. But the reason why I like this is because after going on to the hourly chart, after having a wick below this major level, there was a V-shaped recovery here. On the 15-minute, this is a strong market structure shift as well. And that tells me that this level right here is very, very, very strong, looking at 87,700. Therefore, this is my stop loss down. This could be my stop loss down here if I wanted to play it very safe. But because there was a previous high formed, a 50% retrace, and then another high form, this is what we call a 4-pointer structure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-pointer structure, you always want to be in at the 5th leg. This is the 5th leg, okay? The reason why I put my stop loss down here is because I'm still trading against the wind. I usually say I'm pissing against the wind, so I'm trading against the trend because the general trend is down. We're rejecting from a 4-hour OB. I would not be surprised if it starts rejecting and goes down. But because of the higher time from liquidity, I said the double top on the 4-hour, and because of the daily equilibrium at around 100,000, I do believe that we need to push here, and this is a perfect setup for that on the lower time frame. So 1, 2, 3, before, you have a low, you have a high, you have a close above that, and you have a higher low as well. And then on the fifth leg, I have to get in. This is what I did at the 50%, place my entry, and I'm going to ride this. My TP is 95,000, which is still below the actual equilibrium, which is up at 98. So there is way for Bitcoin to go up here, and this is not a massive move. It's around a 3-4% move, but the risk reward on this is about 1.1 to 3, so that makes a lot of sense for me. So I do have this position open here. It's down currently 4%. Don't look at the leverage doesn't matter. Risk is what matters. I took it 30x, yes, because it made much more sense to me. I am going to drop. I actually do have a bunch of videos that are teaching you about how I trade. I'm going to have much more, so again, subscribe. But do not get tempted of doing this because you might be burned. So, other things I wanted to talk about were very important. So a lot of people are saying that, yo, Fefe, you did say this, did say that. Let me be very clear. So I do believe that we're going to have a very bullish 2026. The bottom on Bitcoin, I believed to be 80,000, but because the market came down much faster, I can see Bitcoin getting to 70, and even if I wanted to be very technical, I can go into the weekly chart and be like, hey, the low on here is actually 50,000, 48,000. So Bitcoin can get all the way down here before reversing, even though I don't think it's happening, and I think that we are going to reverse between these areas, which is between 70, 74, and 60,000. That's where I think we're going to reverse, okay? So that said, I do have this post here, and I said, Bessen came on yesterday and explained how next year is going to be very bullish, and they're just seeing the result of next year and this and that. And I was like, you know, this is, I don't have a lamp turned on here. This is what I'm missing, because it's definitely getting fired today, definitely. I do believe that we need to see a 10 to 20% correction on the S&P, and the reason is because there is $7 trillion sitting on the sideline waiting to be deployed, and these guys are not going to buy the top. And if you are looking at what is the S&P doing, is making highs after highs after highs. Even though I don't believe in this, you know, parabolic whatever, and I don't believe in I mean, they do work, but Bollinger Bands and all that actually fail you a lot of times. But there is a clear signal that the S&P should be at some point topping here. And if I look at the daily chart on the S&P, I actually would not be surprised, because we have a close below here. By the way, just so you know, on the daily chart, this is a clear close below the previous low. If you look at here, let me just zoom in. This here is a clear low, close below the previous low. Therefore, this is a rejection, and this is nothing else but a retrace with a rejection here as well. So if I look at this and I say, what is the market going to do? I would not be surprised if this actually just starts rejecting, maybe does something like this, starts rejecting and comes down. My target for the S&P, and I know you gotta hold on to your chair, but my target is the 50% leg on the daily, the equilibrium, which would be about $6,000, $5,800. This is what I would expect the S&P to do. If the S&P does this in the next 3 to 6 months, I do believe that that is going to be the ultimate bottom. Bitcoin in this case can get to $65,000, $65,000. I think it's a generational buying opportunity. And then this is what I would look for deploying if that happens. At least a 10, 20, 15% correction, at least, which is about 6,000 to about 5,800. Now I do have these bots, as you know. A lot of people are not a fan of them, but I don't care. As you see, I'm doing pretty okay with them. These are the bull market bots. I have a full video. We're gonna put it up here and on the screen, and it's in the description. You can watch that video and explaining why I think it's a mistake not to deploy some of your capital into these bots. These are set on a very high time frame, so you can see, for example, my Bitcoin bot, the parameter is that the lower price range is 48,800 to the monthly. I don't think Bitcoin is getting down there. Therefore, the bot is much more safer if it was playing, even though it's leveraged, if it was playing on a very short or tight frame. Bitcoin bot is up 20%, AERO is up 6%. Esther, I'm still waiting for a miracle here. I do think CZ is going to send this down 40%. My Tau bought up 30%. Hype is surprisingly taking a hit here. We're going to see how that goes, 30%. Solana is 9%. So overall, if you add up everything, obviously it's in profit, but I don't even care if they are going into red, because if we start dumping, the market starts dumping, it is fine. This is how the bots work. They accumulate always, and as the market volatility works, they do that in your favor. So again, a lot of you asked me about this. I do think it's a mistake not to deploy into these bots. Watch the video and decide for yourself. Other than that, guys, today what I believe is going to happen, that we have to open at a red. Hopefully we're not going to break below all the way here. We could, by the way, like it's like we can come down here and then move on from there. I hope that's not happening. I hope that we are reversing from these regions. And actually, oh, okay. So you actually see, was this already on London? This is a 15-minute chart, but yeah, it's good. It's perfect. So liquidity wasn't taken on the bottom. I think it's fine. We might see a wick below the Asia low, which is down here, maybe a little bit like this, and then move on. I am bullish for today. Please do not get stuck. Please make sure that you are not, you're not over leveraged and whatever. Tomorrow is FOMC, a big day, so we have to see how that goes. Ultimately, I'm going to update you in the community. Link in the description. It's completely free. Join in. Make sure that you're in there. You pin the Telegram group. Subscribe to the channel. Check out this video. This is going to be how I bought the dip. And if you want to learn more about these bots, just check out this again. The reason why I say it is because they are genuinely a great opportunity, in my opinion, to just print money without actually paying attention to it, right? There's always risks. I'm explaining it in these two videos. Click here to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one tomorrow. Take care. Ciao, ciao.